cities: Delhi,
Honorable
Mumbai,
Speaker,
Chennai and Kolkata.
I
And this project,
present
it is
the
giving a
interim budget
huge
for
business boost to Mundra Port,
24-25.
which is connected to the highway of the Golden Quadrilateral. So trade and transportation has actually become simpler, and factories in all four cities actually have a huge
The
advantage.
Indian economy
Anyways, the government makes it easier
has
and cheaper for
witnessed
businesses to flourish.
profound
And eventually,
positive
when these
transformation
businesses earn more
the
income,
last
the government
10 years.
collects more taxes from these businesses.
people of India
Similarly, the government has
are
allocated
looking
2 lakh
ahead
crores to make
to the
food grains
future
freely available
with
for
hope and
81.35 crore people under the National Food
blessings of the
Security. We have the
people.
government sources
When our government,
of revenue.
under the visionary
and here,
and dynamic
firstly,
leadership
we have the
of
taxes,
Honorable
which are the
Prime
most
Minister Shri
significant source of
Narendra
revenue
Modi
for the government.
assumed
And here's
office
where
in
we have income
2014.
tax, sales tax, property
The
tax,
country was
corporate tax,
facing
etc.
enormous challenges.
Then, secondly, we have fees
With
and charges,
Sabka
which
Saath,
comes from
Sabka
license fees,
Vikas
permits, and
as its
fines.
mantra.
Thirdly, we have sales of
The
goods and
government
services.
overcame
Here's where
those
the government
challenges
generates revenue through
in
the sale
right
of land,
earnest.
public utilities, or other assets.
Structural reforms
Then the
were
government also
undertaken.
earns from investments in
Pro-people
stocks,
programs
bonds, or
were
other financial
formulated
instruments.
and implemented
And lastly,
promptly.
we have the royalties that the government
Conditions were
actually
created
receives
for
from
more
natural resource
opportunities
extraction
for
such as
employment
oil and gas.
and
Revenue is
entrepreneurship.
more than its spending,
The
then the
economy
economy is
got
said
a
to be
new
a
vigor.
surplus economy.
The
And if
fruits
the
of
spending is more than the
development
revenue,
started
then it
reaching
is
the
known as a
people
deficit
at
economy.
scale.
So if you look at India,
country got
in
a new
FY
sense of
22-23,
purpose
our government
and
spending
hope.
is 39 lakh
Naturally,
44,909
the
crore
people blessed the
rupees,
government
and the revenue
with a
is
bigger
22
mandate.
lakh 83,713
In the
crore
second
rupees.
term,
So we
our
have a
government
deficit
under the
economy with a
leadership
deficit
of
of
Honorable Prime
60
Minister
lakh
doubled down on
61,196
its
crore rupees.
responsibilities
And this difference between
build a
spending and
prosperous
revenue
country
is what you call
with
as
comprehensive
fiscal
development
deficit. Well, this
of
is the
all
reason why
people
India takes
and all
loans from other countries,
regions.
from bonds and
Our
international
government
bodies to
strengthened
make up
its
for this
mantra
fiscal
to
deficit. Right
Sabka
now, the
Saath,
Indian government has
Sabka
taken loans from
Vikas
Asian
and
Development Bank,
Sabka
International
Vishwas.
Development Association,
Our development
International Bank for
philosophy
Reconstruction and
covered
Development,
all elements
and the
of
International Fund for
inclusivity,
Agri. This is the reason why
namely
the government acts
social
well. In simple words,
inclusivity
revenue expenditure
through
includes the
coverage of all
expenses that the
strata of
government
the
incurs
society
for its normal course of
and
operation, such as
geographical
salaries, wages,
inclusivity
supplies, and
through
other ongoing
development
costs.
of all regions
These
of
expenses
the
are
country.
incurred to maintain the current level of government
With its
services
whole of
and do
nation
not,
approach
I repeat, do
of
not
Sabka
result in the
Prayas,
creation of long-term
the
assets.
country
So if
overcame
the government is
the
paying
challenges
salaries to
of
BSNL employees,
once-in-a-century
it's paying this money to keep
took
BSNL
long
running at
strides
present.
towards Atmanirbhar
But when you look
Bharat,
at capital expenditure,
committed to punch
it
plan
refers to the
and
expenses that the
laid
government
solid
incurs to create
foundations
long-term
for the
assets
Amrit
such
Kaal.
as infrastructure, buildings and equipment.
As a
And
result,
these expenses are specially meant to improve the government's
As a result,
productive capacity
our
and
young
are seen
country
as investments
has
in the
high
future. For
aspirations,
example, like we
pride
saw,
in
the
its
expenditure for
present,
Golden Quadrilateral
and
Highway
hope
was a
and
capital
confidence
expenditure.
for a
So
bright
even though it
future.
costed us 60,000
We
crores,
expect
it was
that our
completed in
government,
2012
based
and it
on
is
its
still paying dividends
stupendous
for the
work,
economy of our country.
will be blessed again
So in
by
short,
the people
revenue
with a
expenditure is for
resounding
ongoing
mandate.
operations and does not result in creation of long-term assets. Whereas capital
Inclusive
expenditure is for
development and
investment
growth.
at the government
Our
spending on road
humane
sector
and
is going to shoot
inclusive
up from
approach
1.2 lakh
to
crores to
development is a
multimodal
marked
logistics
and
parks coming up
deliberate
and 100 PM
from
Gati
the
Shakti
earlier
cargo
approach
terminals to be
of
built in the next
provisioning
3
up to
years.
village
So the
level.
key stocks to keep an eye on are logistics
Development
stocks like Adani
programs were
Ports,
thus
Concur,
provisioned.
Mahindra
In the
Logistics,
last 10 years,
TCI Express
however,
and Blue
have
Dart.
targeted
Secondly,
each and every
400 new
household
generation
and
Vande Bharat trains
individual
will be developed
through
and
housing for
manufactured.
all,
And this will benefit
Har
the
Ghar
stainless
Jal,
steel sector. So
electricity
keep
for
an
all,
eye on Jindal
cooking
Stainless.
gas for all,
Thirdly, we have
bank
robust allocation of
accounts and financial
7.5 lakh
services
crores,
for
which is a
all
35%
in
increase in
record
capital
time.
expenditure and concessional tax
The
rate
worries
for
about
new
food.
manufacturing setups. This will benefit the commercial vehicle companies
worries
and the
about
stocks to keep an
food
eye on
have
are
been
Ashok
eliminated
Leyland,
through
M&M
free
and Tata
ration for
Motors.
80
Similarly,
crore
the government is
people.
also proposed to come out with
Minimum
battery swapping
support-
policy with an increase in allocation to FAME scheme from
Minimum
800 crores in
support
FY22
prices for
to
the produce of
2,908
Annadata
crores. And
are
this is a very, very big deal
periodically
for the domestic EV industry.
appropriately.
So the stocks to keep an eye
These
on
and
would
the
be
base-
Tata
and the
Motors,
provision of
M&M,
basic
Minda
necessities
Corporation, Gabriel
have
and Greaves
enhanced
Cotton.
real income
Similarly, the
in the
government will be
rural
spending
areas.
48,000 crores on
Their
affordable
economic
housing
needs
under the
could be
PM
addressed,
housing scheme.
thus
And this
spurring
will play a
growth
vital
and
role for key
generating
stocks like
jobs.
Canfin Home,
Social
Aavas, Home
justice.
First and HDFC.
Our
2023,
government is
our
working
Finance
with an
Minister Mrs.
approach to
Nirmala
development
Sitharaman presented
that
the
is
Union
all
Budget of
round,
2023 to the
all
Lok Sabha.
pervasive
It is by
and
far the
all
most important
inclusive.
economic event that
Sarvangeen,
every citizen must follow to run a company.
or Sarva
Even to run a
Samaveshti.
government, you need to spend a lot of money
It
in order to
covers all
achieve
castes
two important
and
outputs.
people at all
Number one,
levels.
to build a conducive
We are working
ecosystem
to
for
make
businesses
India
to
a
flourish,
Viksit
welfare
Bharat
for the
by
people. The government of India spent
2047.
60,000 crores to build something called the Golden quadrilateral highway. This
For
highway connects
achieving
four
that
major
goal,
cities: Delhi,
we need to
Mumbai,
improve
Chennai and
people's capability
Kolkata. And this
and
project,
empower
it is
them.
giving a huge business boost to
Previously,
Mundra Port, which is
social
connected to the
justice
highway of the Golden
was mostly
Quadrilateral.
a political
So
slogan.
trade and transportation
For
has
our
actually become
government,
simpler,
social
and factories
justice
in
is an
all four
effective
cities
and
actually have a
necessary
huge advantage.
governance
Anyways,
model.
the government makes it easier
The
and cheaper for
saturation-
businesses to flourish. And eventually, when these businesses earn more income,
saturation
the government
approach
collects
of
more taxes
covering
from
all
these
eligible
businesses.
people
Similarly, the
is
government
the
has allocated
true
2
and
lakh crores to
comprehensive
make food grains
achievement
freely
of
available for
social
81.35 crore
This
people
is
under the National Food
secularism
Security. We have the
in
government
action.
sources of revenue.
Reduces
And here,
corruption.
firstly, we have the taxes, which are the most significant source of revenue for the
prevents
government.
nepotism.
And here's where we
Prevents
have income
by
tax,
Bhatijawad.
sales tax, property tax, corporate tax,
There
etc.
is transparency
Then, secondly, we have
and
fees and
assurance
charges,
that
which comes from
benefits
license
are
fees,
delivered to
permits,
all
and
eligible
fines.
people.
Thirdly, we have sales
The
of goods and
resources are
services. Here's
distributed
where
fairly.
the government generates revenue
All,
through the sale of
regardless
land,
of their
public
social
utilities, or
standing,
other assets.
get access to
Then the
opportunities.
government also earns from
We are
investments
addressing
in stocks,
systemic
bonds, or other financial
inequalities
instruments.
that have
And
plagued our
lastly,
society.
we have the royalties
We
that the government
focus on
actually receives
outcomes
from natural
and not
resource
on
extraction
outputs,
such as
so
oil and
that
gas. Revenue
the
is
social
more than
economic
spending, then the economy is said to be a
transformation is
surplus
achieved.
economy. And if
As
the
the Prime
spending is
Minister
more than the
firmly
revenue,
believes,
then it is known
we
as a
need to
deficit
focus
economy.
on four
So if you look at
major
India,
classes.
in FY 22-23,
They are
our government spending is
Garib,
39,44,909 crore rupees,
and
and the revenue is
Annadata.
22,83,713 crore rupees. So we
Their
have a
needs,
deficit economy with a
their
deficit of
aspirations,
16,61,196
and their
crore
welfare
rupees.
are our
And this
highest
difference between spending
The
and
country
revenue is
progresses
what you call
when
as
they progress.
fiscal deficit. Well, this
All
is the reason
four
why
require
India takes
and
loans from
receive
other countries,
government support
from bonds
in
and
their
international
quest to
bodies to
better
make up for this
their
fiscal
lives.
deficit. Right now,
Their
the Indian government
empowerment
has taken
and
loans from
well-being
Asian Development
will
Bank,
drive the
International
country
Development Association,
forward.
International Bank for Reconstruction
Garib
and
Kalyan,
Development, and the
Desh
International
Kalyan.
Fund for Agri. This is the
We
reason
believe
why
in
the government
empowering
act
the poor.
well. In simple words, revenue expenditure
The earlier
includes the
approach of
expenses that the
tackling
government
poverty
incurs
through
for its normal
entitlements
course of operation,
had
such as
resulted in
salaries,
very
wages,
modest
supplies, and
outcomes.
other ongoing
When the
costs.
poor became
These
empowered
expenses are
partners
incurred to
in the
maintain the
development
current
process,
level of government services
government's power
and
to
do
assist
not,
them
I repeat, do
also
not result in the
increases
creation of
manifold.
long-term assets.
With
So
the
if the government is
pursuit of
paying
Sabka
salaries to
Saath,
BSNL employees,
in
it's
these
paying
10
this money to
years,
keep
the
BSNL
government
running
has
at
assisted
present. But when you look at capital
25 crore
expenditure,
people
it
to get
refers to the
freedom
expenses
from
that the government incurs to
multi-dimensional
create
poverty.
long-term assets such as infrastructure, buildings and equipments. And these expenses are
government's
specially
efforts
meant to improve the
are now
government's
getting
productive capacity
synergized
and are
with
seen as
energy and
investments in the
passion
future.
of such
For example,
empowered
like we saw,
people.
the expenditure for
This
Golden
is
Quadrilateral
truly
Highway was a
elevating them
capital
from
expenditure.
poverty.
So even though it costed us 60,000 crores,
Direct
it was
benefit
completed in
transfer
2012 and
of
it is still paying
34
dividends for the
lakh
economy
crore
of our
rupees
country.
from the
So
government
in short,
using
revenue
PM
expenditure
Jan
is
Dhan
for
accounts
ongoing operations and does not result in
has
creation
led
of
to
long-term assets.
savings
Whereas
of 2.7
capital expenditure
lakh
is for
crores
investment at
of
the
rupees
government spending
for
on
the
road
government.
sector is going to shoot up from 1.2 lakh crores to
This
multimodal
savings
logistics parks
has
coming
been
up and
realized
100
through
PM Gati Shakti
avoidance
cargo
of
terminals to be
leakages
built in the next
prevalent
3
earlier.
years. So the key
The
stocks to keep an
savings
eye
have
on
helped
are
in
logistic
providing
stocks like Adani
more
Ports,
funds
Concur,
for
Mahindra
Garib
Logistics,
Kalyan.
TCI Express and Blue
PM
Dart.
Swanidhi
Secondly, 400
provided
new generation
credit
Vande Bharat
assistance
trains
to
will be developed
78
and
lakh
manufactured.
street vendors.
And this will benefit the stainless
that
steel sector.
total-
So keep an eye on Jindal Stainless.
From that total of
Thirdly, we have
78 lakh
robust
street
allocation of
vendors,
7.5 lakh crores, which is a
2.3 lakh
35%
have
increase in
received
capital
credit
expenditure
for the
and
third
concessional
time.
tax rate for new manufacturing setups. This will benefit the commercial vehicle
PM
companies
Jan
and the stocks to
Yojana
keep an eye on
reaches
are
out to the
Ashok
particularly
Leyland,
vulnerable
M&M and
tribal
Tata Motors.
groups
Similarly, the
who
government
have
has also
remained
proposed to come
outside
out
the
with
realm of
battery swapping
development
policy
so far.
with an increase in allocation
PM
to FAME
Vishwakarma
scheme
Yojana
from 800 crores in FY22
provides
to
end-to-end support to
2,908
artisans
crores.
and
And this is a
craftspeople
very big deal for the
engaged in
domestic EV
18
industry.
trades.
So the stocks to
The
keep an eye on
schemes
would be
for
Tata
empowerment
Motors,
of
M&M,
Divyangs
Minda Corporation,
and
Gabriel and
transgender
Greaves Cotton.
persons
Similarly, the
reflect
government will be spending
firm
48,000 crores on
resolve of our
affordable
government
housing
to
under the
leave
PM
no
housing
one
scheme.
behind.
And this will play a vital role for key stocks like Canfin Home, Awas, Home First and
Welfare of
HDFC.
Annadata.
2023, our Finance
Farmers
Minister
are
Mrs.
our
Nirmala
Annadata.
Sitharaman presented the
Every
Union
year
Budget of
under PM
2023 to the
Kisan
Lok
Samman
Sabha.
Yojana,
Is by far the
direct
most
financial
important
assistance
economic
is
event that
provided to
every citizen must follow to run a
11.8
company.
crore farmers.
Even to run a government, you need to spend a lot of money
Including
in order to achieve
marginal
two
and
important
small
outputs.
farmers.
Number one, to
Crop
build a
insurance
conducive
is given
ecosystem
to
for
4
businesses to
crore
flourish.
farmers
Welfare
under
for the
PM
government of
Fasal
India
Bima
spent
Yojana.
60,000 crores to build something called the Golden Quadrilateral Highway.
These
This highway
Besides,
connects
several
four
other
major
programs
cities: Delhi,
are assisting
Mumbai, Chennai, and
Annadata
Kolkata.
in producing
And this
food
project,
for the
it is giving a
country
huge
and
business
for the
boost to
world.
Mundra Port, which is connected to the highway
Electronic
of the
National
Golden
Agricultural
Quadrilateral.
Market
So
has
trade and
integrated
transportation has actually become simpler, and
1,361
factories in all
mandis
four cities
and is
actually have a
providing
huge
services
advantage.
to
Anyways, the
1.8
government makes it
crore
easier
farmers
and cheaper for
with
businesses to
trading
flourish.
volume
And eventually,
of 3
when these
lakh
businesses
crores
earn
of
more
rupees.
income, the government collects more taxes from these businesses.
sector is
Similarly, the
poised
government
for
has allocated
inclusive,
2 lakh crores to make food
balanced,
grains freely
higher
available for
growth
81.35
and
crore
productivity.
people under the National
These are
Food Security. We have
facilitated
the
from
government.
farmer-centric policies, income support, coverage of risks through price and insurance support, promotion of technologies and innovations through startups. Empowering the Amrit PD, the Yuva. Our prosperity depends on adequately equipping and empowering the youth. The National Education Policy 2020 is ushering the transformational reforms. PM Schools for Rising India, PM Shri, are delivering quality teaching and nurturing holistic and well-rounded individuals. The Skill India mission has trained 1.4 crore youth, upskilled and reskilled 54 lakh youth, and established 3,000 new ITIs. A large number of institutions of higher learning, namely 7 IITs, 16 triple ITs, 7 IIMs, 15 AIMS, and 390 universities have been set up. PM Mudra Yojana has sanctioned 43 crore loans aggregating to 22.5 lakh crores of rupees to 22.4 entrepreneurial aspirations of our youth. Besides that, Fund of Funds, Startup India, and Startup Credit Guarantee schemes are assisting our youth. They are also becoming Rozgar Data. The country is proud of our youth scaling new heights in sports. The highest ever medal tally in Asian Games and Asian Para Games in 2023 reflects a high confidence level. Chess prodigy and our #1 ranked player Pragnananda put up a stiff fight against the reigning world champion Magnus Carlsen in 2023. Today, India has over 80 chess grandmasters compared to little over 20 in 2010. Momentum for Nari Shakti. The empowerment of women through entrepreneurship, ease of living, and dignity for them has gained momentum in these 10 years. 30 crore Mudra Yojana loans have been given to women entrepreneurs. Female enrollment in higher education has gone up by 28% in 10 years. In STEM courses, girls and women constitute 43% of enrollment, one of the highest in the world. All these measures are getting reflected in the increasing participation of women in workforce. Making triple talaq illegal, reservation of 1/3 seats for women in the Lok Sabha and state assemblies, and giving over 70% houses under PM Awas Yojana in rural areas to women, and giving over 70% houses under PM Awas Yojana in rural areas to women as sole or joint owners have enhanced their dignity. Exemplary track record of governance, development, and performance. Besides delivering on high growth in terms of gross domestic product, the government is equally focused on a more comprehensive GDP, that is, governance, development, and performance. Our government has provided transparent, accountable, people-centric, and prompt, trust-based administration with citizen-first and minimum government, maximum governance approach. The impact of all-round development is discernible in all sectors. There is macroeconomic stability, including in the external sector. Investments are robust. The economy is doing well. People are living better and earning better, with even greater aspirations for future. Average real income of the people has increased by 50%. Inflation is moderate. People are getting empowered, equipped, and enabled to pursue their aspirations. There is effective and timely delivery of programs and of large projects. Economic management. The multi-pronged economic management over the past 10 years has complemented people-centric, inclusive development. Following are some of the major elements. 1. All forms of infrastructure, physical, digital, or social, are being built in record time. Number 2, all parts of the country are becoming active participants in economic growth. Number 3, digital public infrastructure, a new factor of production as if in the 21st century, is instrumental in formalization of the economy. Number 4, goods and services tax has enabled one nation, one market, one tax. Tax reforms have led to deepening and widening of tax base. Number 5, strengthening of the financial sector has helped in making savings, credit, and investments more efficient. Number 6, GIFT, IFSC, and the Unified Regulatory Authority, IFSCA, are creating a robust gateway for global capital and financial services for the economy. Number 7, proactive inflation management has helped keep inflation within the policy band. Now, the global context, Honorable Speaker, sir. Geopolitically, global affairs are becoming more complex and challenging with wars and conflicts. Globalization is being redefined with reshoring and friendshoring, disruption and fragmentation of supply chains, and competition for critical minerals and technologies. A new world order is emerging after the COVID pandemic. India assumed the G20 presidency during very difficult times for the world. The global economy was going through high inflation, high interest rates, low growth, very high public debt, low trade growth, and climate changes. The pandemic has led to a crisis of food, fertilizer, fuel, and finances for the world, while India successfully navigated its way. The country showed the way forward and built consensus on solutions for those global problems. The recently announced India-Middle East-Europe economic corridor is a strategic and economic game changer for India and others. In the words of Honorable Prime Minister, the corridor, and I quote, will become the basis of world trade for hundreds of years to come, and history will remember that this corridor was initiated on Indian soil, unquote. Vision for Vikasit Bharat. Our vision for Vikasit Bharat is that of prosperous Bharat in harmony with nature, with modern infrastructure, and providing opportunities for all citizens and all regions to reach their potential. With confidence arising from strong and exemplary track record of performance and progress, earning Sabka Vishwas The next 5 years will be years of unprecedented development and golden moments to realize the dream of developed India by 2047. The trinity of demography, democracy, and diversity, backed by Sabka Prayas, has the potential to fulfill aspirations of every Indian. As Honorable Prime Minister in his Independence Day address to the nation mentioned, I quote, "There is no dearth of opportunities, as many opportunities as we want. The country is capable of creating more opportunities. Sky is the limit," unquote. Strategy for Amrit Kal. Our government will adopt economic policies that foster and sustain growth, facilitate inclusive and sustainable development, improve productivity, create opportunities for all, help them enhance their capabilities, and contribute to generation of resources to power investments and fulfill aspirations. Guided by the principle, reform, perform, and transform, the government will take up next generation reforms and build consensus with the states and stakeholders for effective implementation. It is an important policy priority for our government to ensure timely and adequate finances, relevant technologies, and appropriate training for the micro, small, and medium enterprises, MSMEs, to grow and also compete globally. Orienting the regulatory environment to facilitate their growth will be an important element of this policy mix. Aligning with the Panchamrit goals, our government will facilitate sustaining high and more resource-efficient economic growth. This will work towards energy security in terms of availability, accessibility, and affordability. For meeting the investment needs, our government will prepare the financial sector in terms of size, capacity, skills, and regulatory framework. Aspirational Districts Program. Our government stands ready to assist the states in faster development of aspirational districts and blocks, including generation of ample economic opportunities. Development of the East. Our government will pay utmost attention to make the eastern region and its people a powerful driver of India's growth. PM Awas Yojana Gramin. Despite the challenges due to COVID, implementation of PM Awas Yojana Gramin continued, and we are close to achieving the target of 3 crore houses. 2 crore more houses will be taken up in the next 5 years to meet the requirement arising from increase in the number of families. Rooftop solarization and Muft Bijli. Through rooftop solarization, 1 crore households will be enabled to obtain up to 300 units free electricity every month. This scheme follows the resolve of Honorable Prime Minister on the historic day of consecration of Sri Ram Mandir in Ayodhya. Following benefits are expected. Savings up to 15 to 18,000 rupees annually for households from free solar electricity and selling the surplus to the distribution companies. Charging of electric vehicles. Entrepreneurship opportunities for a large number of vendors for supply and installation. Employment opportunities for the youth with technical skills in manufacturing, installation, and maintenance. Housing for middle class. Our government will launch a scheme to help deserving sections of the middle class, and I quote from Honorable Prime Minister's words, living in rented houses or slums or chawls and unauthorized colonies, unquote, to buy or build their own houses. Medical colleges. Several youth are ambitious to get qualified as doctors. They aim to serve our people through improved healthcare services. Our government plans to set up more medical colleges by utilizing the existing hospital infrastructure under various departments. A committee for this purpose will be set up to examine the issues and make relevant recommendations. Cervical cancer vaccination. Our government will encourage vaccination for girls in the age group of 9 to 14 years for prevention of cervical cancer. Maternal and child health care. Various schemes for maternal and child care will be brought under one comprehensive program for synergy in implementation. Upgradation of Anganwadi centers under Saksham Anganwadi and Poshan 2.0 will be expedited for improved nutrition delivery, early childhood care, and development. The newly designed U-Win platform for managing immunization and intensified efforts of Mission Indradhanush will be rolled out expeditiously throughout the country. Ayushman Bharat. Healthcare cover under Ayushman Bharat scheme will be extended to all ASHA workers, to all Anganwadi workers and helpers. Agriculture and food processing. The efforts of value addition in agriculture sector and boosting farmers' incomes will be stepped up. Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana has benefited 38 lakh farmers and generated 10 lakh employment. Pradhan Mantri Formalization of Micro Food Processing Enterprises Yojana has assisted 2.4 lakh SHGs and 60,000 individuals with credit linkages. Other schemes are complementing the efforts for reducing post-harvest losses and improving productivity and incomes. For ensuring faster growth of the sector, our government will further promote private and public investment in post-harvest activities, including aggregation, modern storage, efficient supply chains, primary and secondary processing and marketing and branding. Nano DAP. After the successful adoption of nano urea, application of nano DAP on various crops will be expanded in all agroclimatic zones. Atmanirbhar Oil Seeds Abhiyan. Building on the initiative announced in 2022, a strategy will be formulated to achieve Atmanirbharta for oil seeds such as mustard, groundnut, sesame, soya bean, and sunflower. This will cover research for high-yielding varieties, widespread adoption of modern farming techniques, market linkages, procurement, value addition, and crop insurance. Dairy development. A comprehensive program for supporting dairy farmers will be formulated. Efforts are already on to control foot and mouth disease. India is the world's largest milk producer with but with low productivity of milch animals. The program will be built on the success of existing schemes such as Rashtriya Gokul Mission, National Livestock Mission, and infrastructure development funds for dairy processing and animal husbandry. Matsya Sampada. It was a government which set up a separate department for fisheries, realizing the importance of assisting fishermen. This has resulted in doubling of both inland and aquaculture production. Seafood exports since 2013-14 has also doubled. Implementation of Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana will be stepped up to 1. Enhance aquaculture productivity from existing 3 to 5 tons per hectare. 2. Double exports to 1 lakh crore rupees, and 3. Generate 55 lakh employment opportunities in the near future. 5 integrated aqua parks will also be set up. Lakpati Didi. $83 lakh SHGs. 83 lakh SHGs with 9 crore women are transforming rural socio-economic landscape with empowerment and self-reliance. Honorable Speaker, sir, their success has assisted nearly 1 crore women to become Lakpati Didi already. They are an inspiration to others. Their achievements will be recognized through honoring them. Buoyed by the success, it has been decided to enhance the target for Lakpati Didi from 2 crores to 3 crores. Technological changes, new age technologies, and data are changing the lives of people and businesses. They are also enabling new economic opportunities and facilitating provision of high-quality services at affordable prices for all, including those at the bottom of the pyramid. Opportunities for India at the global level are expanding. India is showing solutions through innovation and entrepreneurship of its people. Research and innovation for catalyzing growth, employment, and development. Prime Minister Shastri, Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri gave the slogan of Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. Prime Minister Vajpayee, Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, made that Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Vigyan. Prime Minister Modi has furthered that to Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Vigyan, and Jai Anusandhan, as innovation is the foundation of development. For our tech-savvy youth, this will be a golden era. A corpus of 1 lakh crore rupees will be established with 50-year interest-free loan provided. The corpus will provide long-term financing or refinancing with long tenors and low and or nil. I repeat that sentence. The corpus will provide long-term financing or refinancing with long tenors and low or nil interest rates. This will encourage the private sector to scale up research and innovation significantly in sunrise domains. We need to have programs that combine the powers of our youth and technology. A new scheme will be launched for strengthening deep tech technologies for defense purposes and expediting Atmanirbharta. Infrastructure development. Building on the massive tripling of the capital expenditure outlay in the past 4 years, resulting in huge multiplier impact on economic growth and employment creation, the outlay for the next year is being increased by 11.1% to 11,11,100 111 crore rupees. This would be 3.4% of our GDP. Railways. 3 major railway corridor programs will be implemented. These are energy, mineral, and cement corridor. Number 2, port connectivity corridors. And number 3, high traffic density corridors. The projects have been identified under the PM Gati Shakti for enabling multimodal connectivity. They will improve logistics efficiency and reduce cost. The resultant decongestion of the high traffic corridors will also help in improving operations of passenger trains, resulting in safety and higher travel speed for passengers. Together with dedicated freight corridors, these 3 economic corridor programs will accelerate our GDP growth and reduce logistic costs. 40,000 normal rail bogies will be converted to Vande Bharat standards to enhance safety, convenience, and comfort of passengers. Aviation sector. The aviation sector has been galvanized in the past 10 years. Number of airports have doubled to 149. Rollout of air connectivity to Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities under UDAN scheme has been widespread. 517 new routes are carrying 1.3 crore passengers. Indian carriers have proactively placed orders for over 1,000 new aircrafts. Expansion of existing airports and development of new airports will continue expeditiously. Metro and Namo Bharat. We have a fast expanding middle class and rapid urbanization is taking place. Metro rail and Namo Bharat can be the catalyst for the required urban transformation. Expansion of these systems will be supported in large cities focusing on transit-oriented development. Green energy. Towards meeting our commitment for net zero by 2070, the following measures will be taken. Viability gap funding will be provided for harnessing offshore wind energy, potential for initial capacity of 1 gigawatt. Coal gasification and liquefaction capacity of 100 metric tons will be set up by 2030. This will also help in reducing imports of natural gas, methanol, and ammonia. Phased mandatory blending of compressed biogas in compressed natural gas for transport and piped natural gas for domestic purposes will be mandated. Financial assistance will be provided for procurement of biomass aggregation machinery to support collection. Electric vehicle ecosystem. Our government will expand this and strengthen the e-vehicle ecosystem by supporting manufacturing and charging infrastructure. Greater adoption of e-buses for public transport networks will be encouraged through payment security mechanism. Biomanufacturing and biofoundry. For promoting green growth, a new scheme of biomanufacturing and biofoundry will be launched. This will provide environment-friendly alternatives such as biodegradable polymers, bioplastics, biopharmaceuticals, and bioagri inputs. This scheme will also help in transforming today's consumptive manufacturing paradigm. to the one based on regenerative principles. Blue Economy 2.0. For promoting climate-resilient activities for Blue Economy 2.0, a scheme for restoration and adaptation measures and coastal aquaculture and mariculture with integrated and multi-sectoral approach will be launched. Comprehensive development of tourist centers. The success of organizing G20 meetings in 60 places presented diversity of India to global audience. Our economic strength has made the country an attractive destination for business and conference tourism. Our middle class also now aspires to travel and explore. Tourism, including spiritual tourism, has tremendous opportunities for local entrepreneurship. States will be encouraged to take up comprehensive development of iconic tourist centers, branding and marketing them at global scale. A framework for rating of the centers based on quality of facilities and services will be established. Long-term interest-free loans will be provided to states for financing such development on matching basis. To address the emerging fervor for domestic tourism, Honorable Speaker, sir, projects for port connectivity, tourism infrastructure, and amenities will be taken up on our islands, including Lakshadweep. This will help in generating employment also. Promoting investments. The FDI inflow during 2014 to 23 was $596 billion US, marking a golden era. That is twice the inflow during 2005 to 14. For encouraging sustained foreign investment, we are negotiating bilateral investment treaties with our foreign partners in the spirit of First Develop India. FDI is First Develop India. Reforms in the states for Vikasit Bharat. Many growth and development enabling reforms are needed in the states for realizing the vision of Vikasit Bharat. A provision of 75,000 crore rupees as 50-year interest-free loan is proposed this year to support those milestone-linked reforms by the state governments. Societal changes. The government will form a high-powered committee for an extensive consideration of the challenges arising from fast population growth and demographic changes. The committee will be mandated to make recommendations for addressing these challenges comprehensively in relation to the goal of Vikasit Bharat. Amrit Kal as Kartavya Kal. Our government stands committed to strengthening and expanding the economy with high growth and to create conditions for people to realize their aspirations. Honorable Prime Minister, in his Independence Day address to the nation in the 75th year of our Republic, said, and I quote, "We commit ourselves to national development with new inspirations, new consciousness, new resolutions as the country opens up immense possibilities and opportunities. It is our Kartavya Kal." Unquote. Every challenge of the pre-2014 era was overcome through our economic management and our governance. These have placed the country on a resolute path of sustained high growth. This has been possible through right policies, true intentions, and appropriate decisions. In the full budget in July, Honorable Speaker, our government will present a detailed roadmap for our pursuit of Vikasit Bharat. revised its estimates. Revised estimates of 2023-24. The revised estimate of the total receipts other than borrowings is 27.56 lakh crores of rupees, of which the tax receipts are 23.24 lakh crore rupees. The revised estimate of total expenditure is 44.90 lakh crore rupees. The revenue receipts at 30.03 lakh crore rupees are expected to be higher than the budget estimate, reflecting strong growth momentum and formalization in the economy. The revised estimate of the fiscal deficit is 5.8% of GDP, improving on the budget estimate, notwithstanding moderation in the nominal growth estimates. Budget estimates for 2024-25. Coming to the year 2024-25, the total receipts other than borrowings and total expenditure are estimated at 30.80 and 47.66 lakh crore rupees respectively. The tax receipts are estimated at 26.02 lakh crore rupees. The scheme of 50-year interest-free loan for capital expenditure to states will be continued this year with an outlay of 1.3 lakh crore rupees. We continue on the path of fiscal consolidation, as announced in my budget speech of 2021-22, to reduce fiscal deficit below 4.5% by 25-26. The fiscal deficit in 2024-25 is estimated to be 5.1% of GDP, adhering to that path. So the gross and net market borrowings through dated securities during 24-25 are estimated at 14.13 lakh crore rupees and 11.75 lakh crore respectively. Both will be less than that in 23-24. Now that the private investments are happening at scale, the lower borrowings by the central government will facilitate larger availability of credit for the private sector. Vote on account. I'll be seeking vote on account approval of the Parliament through the appropriation bill for a part of the financial year 2024-25. I will now move to Part B. Honorable Speaker, sir, over the last 10 years, the direct tax collections have more than trebled and the return filers swelled 2.4 times. I would like to assure the taxpayers that their contributions have been used wisely for the development of the country and welfare of its people. I appreciate the taxpayers for their continued support. The government has reduced and rationalized tax rates. Under the new tax scheme, there is now no tax liability for taxpayers with income up to 7 lakh rupees, up from 2.2 lakh rupees in the financial year 2013-14. The threshold for presumptive taxation for retail businesses was increased from 2 crores to 3 crores. Similarly, the threshold for professionals eligible for presumptive taxation was increased from 50 lakh rupees to 75 lakh rupees. Also, corporate tax rate was decreased from 30% to 22% for existing domestic companies and to 15% for certain new manufacturing companies. Honorable Speaker, sir, in the last 5 years, our focus has been to improve taxpayer services. The age-old jurisdiction-based assessment system was transformed with the introduction of faceless assessment and appeal, thereby imparting greater efficiency, transparency, and accountability. Introduction of updated income tax returns, a new Form 26 AS, and pre-filling of tax returns have made filing of tax returns simpler and easier. Average processing time of returns has been reduced from 93 days in the year 2013-14 to a mere 10 days this year, thereby making refunds faster. Indirect taxation. By unifying the highly fragmented indirect tax regime in India, the GST has reduced the compliance burden on trade and industry. The industry has acknowledged the benefits of GST. According to a recent survey conducted by a leading consulting firm, 94% of industry leaders view the transition to GST as largely positive. According to 80% of the respondents, it has led to supply chain optimization, as elimination of tax arbitrage and octroi has resulted in disbanding of checkposts at the state and city boundaries. At the same time, tax base of GST more than doubled, and the average monthly gross GST collection has almost doubled to 1.66 lakh crores this year. States too have benefited. States' SGST revenue, including compensation released to states in the post-GST period of 2017-18 to 2022-23, has achieved a buoyancy of 1.22. In contrast, the tax buoyancy of state revenues from subsumed taxes in the pre-GST four-year period of 2012-13 to 2015-16 was a mere 0.72. The biggest beneficiaries are consumers, as reduction in logistic cost and taxes have brought down prices of most goods and services. We have taken a number of steps in customs to facilitate international trade. As a result, the import release time declined by 47% to 71 hours at inland container depots, by 28% to 44 hours at air cargo complexes, and by 27% to 85 hours at seaports over the last 4 years since 2019, when the national time release studies were first started. Tax proposals. As for tax proposals, in keeping with the convention, I do not propose to make any changes relating to taxation and propose to retain the same tax rates for direct and indirect taxes, including import duties. However, certain tax benefits to startups and investments made by sovereign wealth or pension funds, as also tax exemption on certain income of some IFSC units, are expiring on 31/3/2024. To provide continuity in taxation, I propose to extend the date to 31/3/2025. Moreover, in line with the government's vision to improve ease of living and ease of doing business, I wish to make an announcement to improve taxpayers' services. There are a large number of petty, non-verified, non-reconciled, or disputed direct tax demands, many of them dating as far back as 1962, which continue to remain on the books, causing anxiety to honest taxpayers and hindering refunds of subsequent years. Honorable Speaker, sir, I propose to withdraw such outstanding direct tax demands up to 25,000 rupees pertaining to the period up to financial year 2009-10 and up to 10,000 rupees for financial years 2010-11 to 2014-15. This is expected to benefit about 1 crore taxpayers. 1 crore taxpayers would benefit out of this. Economy then and now. In 2014, when our government assumed the reins, the responsibility to mend the economy step by step and to put the governance systems in order was enormous. The need of the hour was to give hope to the people, to attract investments, and to build support for the much needed reforms. The government did that successfully, following a strong belief of nation first. The crisis of those years has been overcome, and the economy has been put firmly on a high, sustainable growth path with all-round development. It is now appropriate to look at where we were then. I repeat, it is now appropriate to look at where we were then till 2014 and where we are now, only for the purpose of drawing lessons from the mismanagement of those years. The government will lay a white paper on table of the House. The exemplary track record of governance, development, and performance, effective delivery, and Jan Kalyan has given the government trust, confidence, and blessings of the people to realize whatever it takes. The goal of Vikasit Bharat, with good intentions, true dedication, and hard work in the coming years and decades. With this, Honorable Speaker, I commend the interim budget to this august House. Jai Hind.
Item